Welcome to Mindful Moments, brought to you by the Center for Trauma-Informed Innovation. I'm Roxanne Pendleton, and will be leading our practice today. My colleague, Laura Ashbaugh, will be moderating our session. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat box. Please do keep yourself muted to minimize distractions. Today's Mindful Moment practice is called Take Time for Grief. Much of what we are experiencing right now is collective grief. And grief is something that if we don't process it, if we don't release it, it stays stuck in our system and can lead to a host of health challenges. And so I want to make some suggestions and then guide us through a breathing technique. So I have 3 suggestions for taking time for grief. And the first one is set aside a regular time. I like to use a candle to mark the beginning and end of my time that I set aside for such things. If you don't have an actual candle, or if you're in an office situation or a hospital situation where you can't light an actual candle, I want to point out that you can get a battery operated candle and you can use that. So I encourage you first to set aside a regular time where you do something to mark that time as this is my time to allow myself to feel, release, and process grief. So I mark that time by lighting a candle. Second thing that is very important to do when processing grief is to open your body, open our bodies. When we are tense, we tend to ball up and curl in. And so much of our grief is stored right here in this area of our body. And so my first suggestion, if you have a doorway, step up into the doorway. You're not gonna probably do it now. I'll give you a different thing to do now. But if you have a doorway, a nice regular practice is as you walk through it to put your arms against the door. And then as you step through it, just a little bit, allow the door to kind of hold your arms, and you can stretch yourself like this, just opening up this part of our bodies, the chest, the heart, the lungs. But since we don't have a doorway necessarily right with us now, I'm going to teach you a standing back bend. Don't be intimidated. You don't have to be flexible to be able to do this. So what I invite you to do is take your hands and place them on your low back like this, or you can use fists. I kind of like to put mine in fists because it just feels good to push into those pressure points there. Bend your knees slightly, and then as you stand up, simply allow the upper part of your back to open. So your shoulders are gonna open a little. You're gonna feel your chest open a little. You're gonna draw your elbows closer to one another and just hold that and breathe. Don't go too far back, but and you can take a second approach, like kind of come in and then open again, standing back. Feels so good. Another thing you can do if that seems awkward is you can actually grasp your hands together and pull your shoulders and chest open that way. Just grasp your hands together and straighten and pull your shoulders and chest open that way. So that is the second suggestion for taking time for grief. The first is set aside a regular time, denote it in some way. I like to light a candle, maybe set a timer for the time that you're going to do this. Second, open your body. Take some time to open your body. And then the third thing is breath. The breath does not make us feel emotions. The breath helps us release what is already there. And it helps us move our chest internally in ways that release emotion. So my first suggestion is singing or humming. And this engages the vagus nerve and allows us to move into a calmer place in our nervous system. So I'm just going to do a scale and invite you to either hum or ah, use the vowel ah, or you can use the word om with me. So let's just do that together a couple times. I'll hum first, and then I'll use the vowel sound ah second. So. You can put your hand on your chest if that helps you to be aware and mindful of the resonating, vibrating feeling there. Let's do it with ah. Doesn't matter if you sound pretty to yourself. The point is you're engaging that vagus nerve and helping those vibrations move you into a calmer place. And it kind of helps loosen things up in the chest. So that could be where you stop with your breath work. You could just repeat some scales up and down over and over, or you could sing a song that you like over and over for whatever amount of time you have set your timer. But I do want to teach you a specific kind of breath that is helpful for releasing grief. And it's called high. High breath, think H-A-H, ha, and then a long E, high, is a way of inhaling completely. And then on the exhale, we do a verbalized sigh to the word high. So we go, ah. So it even sounds like the word sigh. So try it again. Inhale as deeply as you can using all your lung capacity. So, and then exhale. So now I'm going to set a timer for just 3 minutes. And I will continue to model the high breathing. And you can do that with me, or you can just hum or sing, but do something to get your breath work moving. So here we go. Inhale. Inhale. You may find a sense of lightheadedness, not dizziness. Just open the air there. If you need to, hold onto a wall or be seated. Inhale. Inhale. You start to feel tightness in your throat, continue. That means it's working. Inhale. You may feel the need to yawn. That's okay too. Inhale. Continue at your own pace. I want to let you know that it's very natural with this kind of intentional high breathing to have some tears bubble up. That's good. That's a release of the grief that you're already storing and feeling. You might have laughter bubble up. That's good too. You might have a sense of euphoria versus sadness. Whatever comes up is good, And nothing may come up. You just may feel more open. So continue breathing. Continue breathing. One more breath. Very good. So wherever you are, just let your breathing return to normal. Kind of shake yourself out a little. Another version of that is a faster version. You can inhale for 2, pause, and exhale for 2. So that would be so that's just a different version, a variation, a different rate. As always, if any breathing practice makes you feel actually dizzy, stop. It should, the goal is that it makes us feel more open and better and more relaxed. Now, the other piece of this taking time for grief is you actually end the time intentionally. So for me, that might be with a moment of resting and focusing on the candle. And then when I am done or the timer goes off or I'm complete, I will actually blow out or turn off the candle. That serves as kind of a scaffolding or a structure to hold my experience and expression of grief. My brain knows that I will get this time every day or whatever rhythm you set for your time. And that way I have small releases versus something that's overwhelming that I can't, that I feel like I can't navigate. So again, set aside regular time, open and close it with something like lighting a candle and blowing out. Open your body, make sure you get your shoulders and chest opened up, and then do some kind of breathing, whether that's singing, humming, chanting, high breathing, or another kind. Laura is going to put into the chat box, if she hasn't already, the virtual room of refuge link. Thank you for joining us today. We hope this practice will serve as a tool to support your well-being during this time and beyond. These mindful moments are recorded and available to you in the virtual room of refuge. Again, that link is in the chat, along with several other really great resources. We thank you for joining us, and we wish you well. Take good care.